She wanna ride my way. She wanna come this way. She wanna. Once I feel I guess I'm too demanding. I guess I'll keep my candy. Try to tell you what you want, it's crazy. Just touched down in Miami. I guess I'll keep my candy. I guess I'm too demanding. She wanna ride my wave. She wanna ride my chain. Heat it up, microwave. Come on, share my plate. She wanna ride my wave. She wanna ride my chain. Heat it up, microwave. Come on, share my plate. Feeling stuck, feeling stuck. What the fuck? Where about me? I'm the fuck. What you need? Yo, okay. No, I'm a 420 supporter. I definitely had to get my juices flowing because my anxiety was already going. Okay, so I got the sniffles today, but I still wanted to demand, more so like demand of myself, that I deliver what I said I was going to deliver, which was information on how to get started with Airbnb arbitrage and Airbnb co-hosting. So, real quick, I'm gonna just start with this little image I got behind me. So this is my actual Airbnb. This is the living room. It's pretty large, so it's kind of like 2 living rooms, but this is like the first living room. When you first come in, you would come in that door right there behind me, and all of this beautiful art was made by my good friend and artist from Cleveland, Ohio, Krista Freehands. And we got the art from my homie Dave from Deep Roots, awesome, amazing gallery located here in Cleveland, Ohio also. And he furnished our Airbnb, well, basically gave us the art for the Airbnb. Our furniture came from our Airbnb owner, who owns the actual apartment complex where our Airbnb unit is inside of. And I'll talk to you guys about just, how I set that whole situation up to have the owner actually purchase the furniture, to where, I just basically collect profits and, send him a percentage, and we break bread and we, enjoy our lives with the Airbnb structure. But this is not a structure that I created. You can kind of create your own structure within the structure, but the structure is literally called Airbnb Arbitrage and co-hosting. So just before we start, Airbnb Arbitrage versus what Airbnb co-hosting is. So Airbnb Arbitrage is when you have a property from usually a private landlord or private owner, like situation I have right here. So you'll have this private owner. He's usually, or she's usually, experiencing some issues with getting, tenants in this property. I got this unit behind me during, the height of the pandemic. So I was in a situation to solve a problem. So you want to be in a situation to solve a problem. So basically, you talk to the owner and you figure out what their problem is. Based on that, usually it's the problem of the fact that no one's in the unit or property and it's not being rented. That's a problem because as a property owner, they're looking for rent on a monthly consistent basis. So with that, you got a solution, which is, Airbnb arbitrage, and using that method, which is to, yes, pay that rent to the property owner, but to also list that property on Airbnb and put whatever price that you feel like you want to put on there to reap those costs back. And not even really reaping those costs back to really like see a profit. Because yeah, you'll reap the cost back, but you're going to see a profit like 3 times over. Because most likely, whatever that rent price is for that monthly rent, you're going to make that back in that 30-day period in that month. So if the rent, for example, is, let's say, $800. We in Cleveland, Ohio, so we don't really have to worry about like crazy expensive rents from, like, different cities like a Houston, Texas, or Los Angeles, or New York. So our average rent for a nice apartment, 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom, can slide for 850 or 950, maybe 1,000, touching how fancy you feel like you want to be. But you get that rented out for you. You rent that out. You furnish it, whatever. Okay, you relist that property on Airbnb for, let's say, 150 a night, based on maybe where it's at, based on the fact that you put certain furniture in it, based on the fact that maybe you added paintings and finishing touches like this. Maybe you themed it out. Maybe it's for a particular person, like business professionals, or like mine is for artists and creative individuals. All these different things affect your price point. So pop that on there. Let's say in the first, I don't know, 14 days, you make, I don't know, let's say $2,500. Your rent was 850. Cool. He got his 850, Mr. Property Owner, and you got the rest of profit. And do, hopefully, which is smart, save that, keep investing into that unit. Eventually you scale and you get 2 units. So I'm gonna start and actually share my screen so you guys can see a little bit more of what I'm talking about. So here we go. So real quick, let me act like I know how to use Zoom. Hold on 1 second. All right. Okay. So we're gonna start real quick. Real quick, I'm gonna stop one more time just to make sure I'm sharing properly, because I want y'all to get this information. So I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna actually take this out. Perfect. Okay, there we go. All right. So let's go. So boom. So Airbnb Arbitrage and Co-hosting 101 by Jada Renee, Indie Media, myself. Okay. So like I said, this first slide is the same image that you see behind me. Same image, which is my living room for my Airbnb, located 5 minutes from downtown Cleveland. Our downtown Cleveland is pretty cool. If you're from Cleveland, Ohio, it's a lot of cool stuff to do. So when travelers come to Cleveland, usually they're looking to stay near downtown, and that's any city, that's any major city. So if you're watching this and you're not from Cleveland, whatever city that you're in, if your Airbnb is located downtown, or 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even 15, 20 minutes from your major city's downtown area, usually your Airbnb is definitely top 5 that's going to get booked for sure. So, a little bit about me. My name is Jada Renee. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Um, Born and raised, went to high school here, middle school, went to Kent State University as my college. So that was like what 45 minutes away from Cleveland. If you're in Cleveland, shout out to Kent State University. Kent State is where I got kind of like my entrepreneurship wheels spinning and got more creative and into my artistic endeavors to kind of make my artistic, I'll just say, wants and needs, because I wanted to know like really how to be an artist, but how to profit from my art, but not necessarily like just artwork. Like I wanted to understand how to make my artwork resonate into, working with artists, curating events for artists, managing artists. Now it has elevated into creating real estate opportunities for artists. So with that, Kent State, shout out to you for just evoking that entrepreneurship spirit out of me. So with that, started my business, started a marketing company at Kent State University where I would assist up and coming independent artists on how to market their music. I was also a photographer working for creatives, so I would do creative photo shoots for the different models. Kent State University is number 3 in the world for our fashion school. So I would do photo shoots with, the models. Outside of that, I started a clothing line at my college, and I would basically use the same strategy, uh, do photo shoots with the models and market my merchandise all over campus. And that was kind of my first introduction into marketing and how important that was. That elevated to marketing my clothing brand, which is called Indie, that nice, beautiful logo. Indie stands for individuality. Um, that elevated into marketing my clothing brand onto celebrities, like Sid the Kid, from the internet band, Nipsey Hussle. We sent Lena Waithe some merchandise. Yeah, David Banner. It's just a beautiful, yeah. Anyway, so within that, we've done brand management for different artists, art organizations. Upon graduation from Kent State, I basically realized that artists, unfortunately, sometimes do not always have the funds to compensate for what they need at the time. So if I want to really serve the artist community, I can't charge at the base level for where they're at. So why not take that strategy and use it to elevate nonprofit organizations that are in that artist blueprint that need assistance in their marketing departments, get the funds necessary to build my brand so that I could assist the artists necessary and meet them where they're at to further, expand their careers. And, now that has elevated into real estate marketing, real estate investing, and now Airbnb arbitrage. Outside of my marketing company, I started a artist nonprofit, which is called Destination Dream Foundation, where I purchased my grandmother's property in Cleveland, Ohio, in the Buckeye area, to basically be an art house community property for the youth, but to necessarily like really show them how to create profit from their art. So all the bedrooms in the property are going to be renovated into studio spaces. So we'll be teaching photography, videography, graphic design, fashion design, and just educating the kids on how to make profit from their art. And that's just another example of how I'm using real estate to serve the artist community. And then this third logo here is my first generation millionaire investment group logo I got on our shirt. So I made an investment group about like 2020, like right when the pandemic hit, is when I really got into real estate, understanding, how I could go about getting my grandmother's property, how that would be super, super important for our family, and just how to elevate what I was already doing with entrepreneurship and connecting that with real estate and, branching off from there. So I won't go too fast on that because that's like the juice of how we got into Airbnb. So next slide is why I chose this area of real estate. So first, Airbnb specifically, in terms of like real estate, people don't really think that Airbnb is a part of real estate, but it's totally a part of real estate. And it's the easiest point of entry to enter into real estate if you're thinking about getting into real estate, just period. So with that, you have to think about like your your I'll just say like your in. You know what I'm saying? Like what's your in creating this strategy for how you get into Airbnb. Like, you could do what I'm talking about, which is Airbnb arbitrage. You can, maybe you have a property already, you know what I'm saying, and you just don't know what to do with it. Put it on Airbnb. Maybe your mother, has a property and she don't live in the state, and you like, we can make some extra money. Whatever your situation is, but like figure out your end, and you'll have fun with this. But the very, very main reason is that it's a creative way for you to make passive income. So I'm an artist. With that, my artist brain is always moving. I gotta listen to music. My vibes gotta be right. Colors gotta, everything gotta match. It's like the artist brain, right? So if I'm in business and making business moves and doing business for myself, I want to have fun. I want to be in charge of that creative strategy for myself on how I can make money and passively, because I don't want to just make it doing one thing. With that, Airbnb is a way that I could be creative and consistent, in my real estate business. So with that creative part comes from, realizing you're in the hospitality business, but you can be creative in that and have control over how design your unit. So just an example is the unit that I got, and I'll show y'all more pictures, but the unit that I got behind me, I was very selective in, making sure that this art one was in there. And then prior to these walls being white, they were like a weird lime green. So, having conversations with the property owner on updates that needed to be happening so that we could, attract that artist crowd, which is, what I'm focused on, right? So that this could be a fun business strategy for me to, make money in, right? Second reason is travel and leisure. So I like to travel. I like to travel and, relax with that. I've been in business for myself since I was 19 years old. So creating leisure and ways for me to, elevate while not having to do everything is like the goal. Airbnb, you kind of like automate your system. So you don't really have to, unless you want to, be super active with every property. But, once you get past your first one, you usually end up hiring like your cleaner, maybe you'll even go as to hire, a interior designer, um, but really it ends up working for itself. You don't necessarily need somebody to run your bookings. You could do that based on, how many you got after you, operate within the app. But you could, if you want to, hire somebody to manage the bookings. You could hire somebody to, contact people to make sure that they actually talk to somebody if they feel like they want to talk to somebody for check-in. You could do all these things by literally going on Fiverr.com and hiring, somebody from out of the country for $5 an hour. You could do the same thing for somebody in America for $12 an hour. It's just looking through the research and figuring out how to make that happen for yourself if you want to do that part. But you could do that yourself. So travel and leisure, it's basically an automated entrepreneurship model, like I just said. So you do gotta have an entrepreneurship spirit. You don't want to hop into Airbnb if you kind of like um, not really too sure about how to go about, working for yourself. I would definitely like understand that research is key. So before anything, what I had to do was research. And what I would tell you to do is definitely research if you don't feel confident. And then once you research as much as you want to research, and be specific in your research. Like every question that you got in your head, research every single question on YouTube, Google, XYZ, and get them answers that's gonna make you confident to do this. Because once you do this, you're definitely gonna be like, yo, I should have been did this. All right. So building connections and relationships in real estate. So that was like, I really should have put that as number one, but that's like a main thing. So relationship building is key in business in general, but in real estate specifically, you kind of end up understanding that real estate is relationships. So whatever you do, in real estate, you building a relationship with that person on the end of that situation. So in Airbnb, you kind of get to be a little closer with that connection and that relationship, because that property owner is really, dependent on you to make sure that their property is one, you know, getting rented out, and two, they want to make sure that it's getting rented out and it look proper. Like, usually when you got a tenant, a long-term tenant for, a month, I mean, like, a year, XYZ, usually a year or 2 years, right? For a long-term tenant lease standard. You really don't know what your bet is going to be once you get a house to that person for, for that lease. You can screen them, definitely, but, People could lie on the screener, and then just in general, even if they don't lie, you living in that house, it's just no telling what type of situations happen, right? When you have a short-term rental business model running out of these properties, your best bet is to maybe have your cleaner have to, deal with a situation that might be dire, like maybe a spill, maybe this is maybe some like crazy bathroom situation or something, but these are all crazy maybe situations that I've never experienced, but these things can happen. But even if that happens, I would rather have a cleaner, on staff from my Airbnb business model coming in to make sure my property is, ready for the next guest, as opposed to, having to do a whole deep clean after 12 months of having a grown human and they family possibly living in my property, and y'all could have did that yourself. I'm just saying. But all right. But building connections in real estate in general, that's gonna take you far. So the connections you build in Airbnb, most likely that owner that you're working with, he has more properties. And he's most likely gonna trust you to do exactly what you're doing in this one to all of the other ones. So that's just an example on how these relationships can take you far. Next, we gonna do the problem or the challenge, right? So the problem is that, the situation on making money and passive income in general, for yourself specifically, if you have, let's say, never made money for yourself, or maybe you just in a position mentally where you just struggle with thinking that that's actually tangible to create for your reality, you got to just remember, like, it's not about the money, it's about the life that you want to live. It's not necessarily about, you know, the money and how much you're making. It's about visualizing, you know, that life for yourself that you want to see. So before I even get into Airbnb and like, how to create passive income on that platform, I really want you to focus on like your mentality around money. Because if you don't focus on your mentality around money, it's going to be real difficult to see this business model as a tangible, profitable way for you to make, passive income, um, just in general. So your mindset has to be strong in general, and that's for entrepreneurship. That's just for waking up in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Have a strong mind, have a strong body, have a strong spirit. So to intake this information and to really use it for yourself, your mindset has to be strong because as soon as you start seeing success, your doubt naturally is going to kick in to combat that success that's happening. So you have to train your mind to be proud, let's say, of your success versus to negate it, and that success starts mentally. You got to think that you're going to be successful. You got to feel that success before it actually happens in real life. So that mindset is super key. So with that, mindset matters. All right. You create positive predictions, okay, to create positive outcomes. And the positive prediction that we're going to create is that y'all going to do this Airbnb, rental arbitrage situation, co-hosting situation, whichever you choose, and it's going to work. Period. That's the thought. We put it out there. I'm going to try Airbnb and it's going to work. I'm going to try Airbnb and it's going to work. I hope you said that. I'm going to try Airbnb and it's going to work. Period. Because what do you think will happen? Whatever you think will happen is going to happen. So if I ask that question, what do you think will happen? And you just had a bunch of bad thoughts about what could happen, then you're absolutely right. And it's kind of nothing I could do to change that mindset. But if I ask you, what do you think will happen? And you think a bunch of positive, amazing things that could happen, after you learn this information and get this business model, then that's exactly what's going to happen. So, I just want to put that out there. Whatever you think is going to happen, it's going to happen. That's just in life, period. But especially when it comes to making money. If you don't think that you're worthy enough to vibrate on the frequency of making consistent income at the highest amount that you set for yourself, then that's not going to happen for you. And that's just science, okay? But I love y'all. And I know y'all gonna figure that out for yourself. But that vibration that you want to get in is that this can happen. This will happen. It's happening already. I already did it. I already got my first Airbnb. All right. So boom. So my real estate journey. So before we talk about it, just keep in mind that real estate is the fastest route to building passive income and creating generational wealth for oneself. Okay. So first thing I did on my journey was purchase my grandparents' home. I'm not trying to say that and sound like I didn't work to do that. I worked to do that. So, okay, I purchased my grandparents' home in what's called the Buckeye area of Cleveland. That property was $8,500. Okay. When the pandemic happened, it was certain crazy things going on, like people losing money and people making money. Okay. It was several things, not the PPP loan, that was making you money, like business grants. Okay. I was able to put myself in a position, excuse me. So I was able to put myself in a position to basically get business grants, okay? And I believe the business grant, it was going around, it was very common. It was called like the EIDL or something. But it was like the COVID grant or something. But I used that. I know what's his name? Trump, he gave checks to us or something. I forget. Oh, the stimulus check. I used that. I had used, I have a marketing company, so I use some client money. What else? And I really honestly think, y'all, my grants assisted the most with that property. So, like I said, 8,500 is what that, and I could teach y'all about grants as well. We could do, a whole nother situation about how to get grants, what grants, especially if you're from Cleveland. Yeah, we can talk about that. But this property right here, this house, it was brown before. We turned it green. It was $8,500 as is. Cash. There was an offer from another person who was, most likely gonna, gentrify the property. And I didn't want that to happen. My grandmother's property had went on the market, and I chose to be the person to match that guy's offer, match his offer, straight 8,500. My family gave it to me. So cool. We get the property. But I don't really understand what to do with this property. I know what I want to do, which is turn it into an art house studio for the youth and educate for creatives in Cleveland. However, I've never, been into real estate in that thick of a situation to where I know how to do anything with this house, After researching the property, which is my grandmother's house that, I was raised in XYZ, but I was raised in it. I was not, from a contractor's perspective, understanding whatever needed to be done with this house or if anything had ever been done to this house, right? So having contractors come through and, tell me about the property, certain things needed to be done with this property, like, a full renovation. So we did that. And we're in the process now of getting that renovation complete and having artists go in there and, paint walls. And it's a beautiful situation that's about to happen in Cleveland. But that first part was getting the house, right? Since I did not understand what was going on and kind of like I had to educate and take my time to understand how to first jump into real estate and do something like that, I had to, well, I didn't have to, I chose to, okay? This is just how my brain worked. I chose to educate myself on what wholesale real estate was, because knowing the type of time and the type of money that I was going to need after talking to these contractors, I was going to need large lump sums of money that were going to help me with this property faster than what people was wanting, you know what I'm saying, expecting me to do this. Because, I don't know if y'all first generation millionaires or whatever, but or aspiring first generation millionaires or whatever, but it takes a lot of mental balance and mental, I'll just say clarity, to focus and to not listen to the outside naysayers. Okay, so with that, it just took a lot. So with that, okay, I had to educate myself on how to make larger increments of money. So Wholesale real estate came into play just after researching and being a YouTube nerd. Okay, cool. Got into wholesale real estate by basically doing what they said, drive for dollars, right? That's the first step. Go find properties in your area that are most likely abandoned, vacant, haven't been there, mail all in the mailbox, XYZ, tall grass, all of that. Totally looks like ain't nobody in there. Okay, cool. Find the property owner who owns that property. You find that based on your county website, okay? You literally type in the address to the county website. That owner name is gonna pop up. You figure out, what that contact information is by a term called skip tracing, which is basically getting the direct information, contact information, home addresses, home phone numbers to the person, which is the property owner, by using different websites like, peoplesearch.com or literally propstream.com, things that you can use to find these people information. Find the information. After you find the information, call them, introduce yourself, say you an investor, local investor, and you trying to figure out if anybody is in this property. It's not nobody in the property, but you trying to figure out if anybody in the property. You're looking to buy the property. You own property in the area, XYZ. They're like, oh my God, no, there's no one in that property. Hasn't been nobody in that property for over 10 years. I've been trying to sell that property, but I live in Hawaii. And you're like, oh, perfect, because me and my group, we're interested in buying this property. And he like, well, how much you want it? You know what I'm saying? And you go on from there. But basically, wholesale real estate, you get that property under contract for a low price. Let's say that person, the person who is in Hawaii, right? Who don't got nothing, no knowledge about what's going on with his property, has been sitting in Cleveland, let's say for, like he said, 10 years. Let's say he want to get that property away for 20,000, right? I know an investor, a real estate guy who maybe is a friend of mine who buys houses, right? I tell him that I have a property available for 30,000. And he like, oh wow, that's a steal. Let me see it. He comes to see it, okay? He's like, oh wow, this is perfect. I want it. He knows exactly what to do with it. He knows it's horrible looking. He knows it's been sitting here for 10 years. He know that it needs a new roof. He know that, it probably need a whole new everything inside, whole new gut, whole new rehab. Maybe the garage is even messed up, right? He know all of this. Maybe the foundation is super dented. All of these things, right? He knows this though, and this is something that he wants to do, to use as a project, because he's gonna fix it up, right? And then he's gonna flip it, right? So he wants it for 30,000. So I assign this property to him for 30,000. I make that 10,000 on the back end because Mr. Hawaii owner sold it to me for 20,000, and I sold it to my buyer friend for 30,000. So I get that 10,000 difference. So with that strategy, I was able to assist in the property basically getting fixed, along with getting outside grants, and then that money that I used from wholesale assisted me in getting my first Airbnb. So with that, I became an Airbnb host in partnership with a partner, and we got the first Airbnb, which is located downtown in the St. Clair area. So if y'all in Cleveland, St. Clair is very, very close to downtown, literally 5 minutes away. So if a traveler is coming from outside of Ohio to Cleveland, Ohio, they're looking maybe downtown Cleveland. Maybe it's nothing to stay directly in downtown Cleveland, but our Airbnb is 5 minutes away from downtown Cleveland. That's a steal. So, boom. So I'll go into that real quick. Before I go into that, I'm gonna just give y'all some place. So this is the Airbnb again. I'm gonna go into more photos about that. This is the property, well, one of the properties, first property actually, that I sold in wholesale real estate, located in Cleveland Heights on Pembroke. This is, like I said, my grandma's house that we currently working on right now. So all three of these strategies, I'm gonna just let you know real quick what they are. So this right here is called the buy and hold method. So what I'm doing with my grandmother's property, I bought the property and I'm holding it. I don't want to sell it. I don't want nobody to ask me about it. I'm working on it and I'm fixing it up to add more property value to the property, but to also add more property value to the whole street. Because if you know anything about the street, it's bad. And they don't really get no love and tender care over there. So everything that we about to do with this property and the land, which are the lots around it, is about to elevate the entire street. So let's say in the next 5 to 10 years, this street, just because of this one property, is not going to look the same. Ironically, construction workers in different areas of this neighborhood are also, unfortunately, gentrifying the area. But I could combat that, which could kind of be a negative perspective of gentrification. I could combat that with what I'm doing with the artist development over here in this part of the area in the neighborhood, because that part can intersect and the black people won't feel like they're getting pushed out because they still have creative places and spaces to go to once we done elevating and constructing a development on this street, starting with the art house. So that's just a play on how that, real estate connection can work when you really get into it and figure out your plan. But you can't do nothing without a plan. So what is Airbnb and what is it used for? Okay. Let's go back. Oh no. So Airbnb. Boom. Airbnb actually stands for air, bed, and breakfast, okay? And is a service that lets property owners rent out their spaces to travelers looking for a place to stay. Travelers can rent a space for multiple people to share a shared space with private rooms or the entire property for themselves. So just to break that down, I'm not in my Airbnb right now, but let's say I'm in my actual house, right? So I'm in my house. So if I wanted to Airbnb just a shared space in my house, that means I want to Airbnb a room in my house. That could be a bedroom, that could be the basement, that can be the garage. If I want to trick out the garage and we ain't got no cars in the garage, you know what I'm saying? That can be any part of your house that you feel like you want to designate off for Airbnb. You could list that one room or one area on Airbnb. It's people that build on their house and extend it to create what I'm talking about with this shared space for Airbnb, just so they could create passive income to literally assist with their living, their life, because it's that easy to generate. So that's what the shared space option is. You can also, because the shared space is like you still live there. That's the idea of it being shared space, right? The private room option is like, okay, so maybe you really do trick out your garage. Like maybe you have a crazy big, I don't know, driveway, and your garage is able to be tricked out, I don't know, into a studio apartment. Who knows? People get creative, right? It's real estate. So you trick it out. You make it a private room, right? Or maybe you got the standard Cleveland 3 bedroom house, and the 3 bedroom is really an attic. You feel me? That they converted into a bedroom. You feel me? So if you in that Cleveland, Akron, even Columbus, area, your houses usually are gonna look like that. You can convert that 3rd bedroom into a whole private room, and that person is, up there privately. Maybe you elevate that and create a back way entrance or something for them to only come through the back and go up to the room. They ain't even got to see you, private room. Or you do the entire property. And if we still talking for my house, okay, maybe I put the entire property on there because I went out of town for the whole month to see family, and I'm not gonna be at home, and I'm not gonna be, let's say, doing anything at home that's gonna be making me rent because I'm gonna be on vacation, right? And yeah, I have passive income from other situations that could definitely pay for my rent, but I could also, just to add more options to the rent being paid, put the whole house on Airbnb for a month, right? And literally, for my property, I know I can make at least 1,500 to 2,000 for the month for sure, for the 3 bedrooms and the attic, plus the basement. Man, I'm doing that. Next time I slide, I'm definitely doing that. All right. But yeah, that's just an example. So if you got a house, if you got, whatever you got, it's people at Airbnb that got a whole RV van. They trick out school buses, put them on there for Airbnb. You just get creative. It's people that got tents on Airbnb, campers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just effortless, limitless. All those words that mean you could do whatever, because Airbnb gives you that platform to do so. So that's for that. Airbnb host and co-host. Okay, so boom. So what's an Airbnb host? So an Airbnb host usually is the owner of a property that lists their property on Airbnb, for hosts to travel. I mean, for guests to travel to their city. So they're hosting the guest, right? The guest is, let's say, you. You're traveling to my city, Cleveland, to figure out, I don't know, what Cleveland has to offer. Because you want to know outside of, I don't know, the Cavs, what Cleveland is like. Maybe because you're a real estate investor and you want to invest in Cleveland. Okay, cool. You still need somewhere to stay. You could choose a hotel, but you don't like hotels because hotels are small and hotels are not as clean as Airbnbs and they're just simply not as fun, okay? So boom, you get on Airbnb. You choose my Airbnb. Downtown, 5 minutes, downtown. You choose it and you get there and you're experiencing it, right? Like you're having a great time. I'm making sure that experience you're having is the great time that you're having because I'm the Airbnb host. And before you came, I made sure it was sparkling clean. I made sure like this art you see was perfectly placed. Let's see, I made sure that the Roku remote was working so that when you pulled up and sat on the couch, the Roku instantly gave you no problems. I made sure that the beds was comfy. I made sure they had new comforters, new sheets. I made sure it smelled nice. Made sure you had some water bottles in the fridge. Uh, my Airbnb is smoke friendly, so I made sure you had an ashtray in there somewhere. Made sure you had some lighters that you could see visible. Made sure you had a pack of incense somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I'm the host, so I'm making your experience beautiful, right? That's your job. Airbnb co-host, okay, is assigned by the host as a property management assistant to assist with check-in, cleaning the unit, or managing bookings. So, let's see. Co-host will be if I ask you, the person watching, to assist me with this unit. And specifically, I need you to assist me with cleaning the unit because I don't have time to clean this unit no more because I've expanded to, 3 new Airbnbs down the street. And we need to now get a co-host to clean this unit and the other ones that we about to be using. So co-host cleans the unit, making sure check-in is easy, which means whatever you put as your rules for the check-in process, meaning keys are in the lockbox code is XYZ, walk up the stairs or walk around the bin, whatever your instructions are, you make sure they're simple. And managing the bookings. So, okay, booking came in. How much is that booking? Relaying this information either to whoever you're working with, your host, or, the property manager, which is usually sometimes your property manager outside of who you make your co-host. The real property manager is usually the property owner of whoever, you're working with. So technically for this property that we're looking at in this photo behind me, the property manager in real life is the owner of the entire apartment building. He's also, so many other things, but he's my partner. He's an investor himself. He has a construction company, but, he's also a property manager. But in terms of Airbnb terms, when you are an Airbnb co-host, you essentially turn yourself into a property manager. Okay. Only thing that you won't do because you simply might not know how to do is property maintenance, and you leave that usually to the property owner. Okay. So, Airbnb hosting for beginners. You can do it. Hey. So, real quick, we just gonna watch this video to do a little intro on how you hop into the Airbnb space in general, and then we'll go in further detail about Airbnb arbitrage versus Airbnb co-hosting.
Hey guys, it's Aman
and Christina from Our Rich Journey.
I am so excited about today's video because we are finally going to answer the question that we get all the time about Airbnb. And it was, how was our experience as hosts? If you've been watching our channel, you know that we're real estate investors. And at one point we had 3 Airbnbs all going at once in the San Francisco Bay Area. And we were making about $7,000 to $10,000 a month doing Airbnb. Well, on today's video, we are going to share with you what we learned and give you guys some tips if you are thinking about starting an Airbnb.
So in this video, we have 10 tips to share with you. These 10 tips we use throughout our Airbnb experience to be great hosts and to generate a lot of side income.
Number one is have a business plan. That is something that, yes, if you have an Airbnb, it is a business and you should treat it as such. So what we recommend is identifying really what you want to accomplish with your Airbnb from a business standpoint. How much money do you want to make? How much you'll charge? Who is your target audience? All of those things are things that you should identify in a plan for your Airbnb.
As part of your business plan, you really need to understand the rules and regulations for your city as it pertains to Airbnbs. Now, these ordinances may restrict the amount of income that you can have or restrict the amount of days that you can have your property listed on Airbnb. So you really have to understand that because that's really going to impact your bottom line.
And regulations are always things that will affect your business. Again, this is a business and we really want to stress that.
And number two is understand that an Airbnb property is a lot different than a long-term rental property. With an Airbnb property, you're really in the business of customer service and hospitality.
And like Christina said, this is a hospitality business. So if you have a rental property, it's really a passive business. It's a passive income generating business. Your tenants go there, they stay there for years and years, they send you a check every month. Maybe you never even talk to them. But with an Airbnb, you are dealing with people every single day. You are changing out sheets, maybe every other day. You are actively engaged in running your Airbnb.
And in certain instances where you're not doing the work yourself, if you're not changing the sheets yourself, if you're not cleaning the units yourself, you still have to supervise those people that are doing those things.
Okay, so now that we have those two tips out of the way, let's talk about what we learned doing our business. And so the third tip is develop a nice check-in plan. And for us, it was having something like a self-check-in system. So all of our units had an automatic lock or an automated lock that we put on the doors so that when tenants or guests arrive, they could check themselves in without us being there.
So the check-in process is really the first experience that the guests are going to have when they come to your property. By installing a keyless entry, our guests could check in and leave whenever they wanted, and they didn't have to rely on us to be there whenever they needed to get in for the first time. It makes for a very seamless check-in process, and it really reflects on your ratings when the guests leave also.
And number four is having a professional photographer take pictures of your unit. Now, when we first started, we took our initial pictures ourselves. The pictures weren't bad, but when we brought in the pro, it was amazing. I wanted to live in that Airbnb. Well, everyone should want to live in your Airbnb. But the point is that when you do something like an Airbnb, treat it like a business, go all out, but take those costs into account when you're developing your business plan.
Now, depending on where you live, Airbnb sometimes offers free professional photography, and that's what we use. But it depends on where you live. Sometimes they will charge, and sometimes you can get it for free. So you should check that out, but you should definitely not underestimate the power of a very good professional photo. And number five is understand the spacing of your property. If you want to get more people in, you can do that by using more bed space. You can put in bunk beds, you can do a couch that rolls out into a bed, but the more beds you have, the more people you can have in the property and the more you can charge.
Now, there is a drawback to having too many beds and too many people in your house. The wear and tear goes up a lot faster. So this goes back to your business plan. Do you want to have an Airbnb that is just for one person or two people, or an Airbnb that is for 12 people? That all depends on your plan and the space that you have available. And number six is continue to talk to your neighbors about their experience living next to your Airbnb unit, because there are adjustments that you can make to mitigate any of the negative impacts that it has to your neighbors. Now, not all neighbors are gonna like your Airbnb, but that is up to you to kind of figure out how that situation works. For us, it was never a problem with our neighbors because we had really good communication with them.
And number seven is understand that cleanliness is key. No one wants to walk into a dirty Airbnb. And I'm talking about really detailed cleaning. Get all the dust, get all the grease off of the kitchen counter. Everything should be spotless.
Yeah, it should be immaculate. Because imagine going over someone's house or going to an Airbnb. You go to lay down and there is a hair on your pillow. the whole trip is ruined. It could just be one single hair. But that was the level of detail that we got to. We had immaculate Airbnbs. We could go over them. We could eat off the floor of our Airbnbs. They were so clean. And this ties into number 8, which is have white linens, sheets, and towels. When people come into your Airbnb, if they see the color white, they associate that with cleanliness. And so it's really nice to keep those types of colors around in your Airbnb. You don't want to use black towels or brown towels because they're going to think you're hiding something. But white is really something that is universal, especially when you're trying to create a luxury brand.
And number 9, and this goes back to understanding that you're in the hospitality business. Number 9 is to make sure that you have different amenities in your house. This means a coffee maker, a hair dryer, even shampoo, conditioner, different soaps. These things should all be available in your Airbnb.
And number 10 is have a gift for the guests when they arrive. So we'd always leave someone some chocolate, some fruit. We made them feel as welcome as possible because all this goes into the Airbnb reviews. We were so fortunate that we always had 5 stars, and people would always mention that when they came to our Airbnb, they loved the gift, the white linen sheets, the cleanliness. These were all things that contribute to how successful your Airbnb is. Because Airbnbs are supposed to be different than the hotel experience. They are supposed to be something very unique. Living in someone's house or living in someone's tree house, whatever the case may be. And providing someone with a gift, it really sets the tone up front. So these are our 10 tips that we obtained from our experience doing Airbnb. You may have a different experience, and you know what? We would love to hear about them in the comments below. But if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and join the journey.
All right. So let's come back. All right. So that's just like an overview, and I'm really showing y'all like a gist because I want y'all to kind of like do what I'm showing you. Like literally, if you're really interested in getting to Airbnb, it's really nothing more than what I'm showing you, which is the process of looking up different people's experiences who have hopped on Airbnb for the first time and had the same type of anxiety that you had, and matching that experience with, you know, your personal situation and doing exactly what you see these people do. Because the first major route to success is getting a mentor. If you don't have that person that's actually in your face telling you, you research that mentor and you can connect with those people virtually because we have the beautiful internet. So there you go. YouTube University will literally save you so much trouble and anxiety on how to make money. Money is the most unfortunate, it's the most unfortunate thing that keeps your anxiety at a low vibration because we need it, right? We need money to survive, right? But usually when you are in that energy of need, like I need it, you literally create that scarcity mindset for yourself. It's very difficult to break out of that if you have, you know, came in different circumstances, environments, life situations that have made it difficult for you to attract money. But the first thing for you to do to break that cycle of how that money is attracted to you or the lack of how it's attracted to you is to ease your mind and how you see yourself making money. If you could ease your mind and visualize, take that time to see yourself making money in whatever way that you see as passive, because it don't got to be Airbnb. Like if it's not Airbnb within this real estate dynamic, because technically all of this is about short-term rentals, right? Airbnb is just another way that you can create a short-term rental business. But whatever strategy you create, you got to know that it's worth you creating. You deserve to make that strategy. You deserve to profit from that strategy. You don't deserve to struggle to make money. You don't deserve to have to struggle and use your energy, your personal energy, your God given energy that flows through your body and your veins every day. It's not natural for you to give that energy away to anything outside of yourself that doesn't generate income in the way that you want it to generate income. And you got to practice that practice for yourself to really resonate with what I'm saying if you've never experienced that. But if you've experienced that, then you know what I'm talking about. But you can experience that every day if you allow yourself to. So that's that rent on that. All right. So we about to get into the juice. So specifically, all right, how to make money using Airbnb without owning property, okay? Because let's say that those two beautiful people in that last video, let's say that they own their house, right? Let's say that they own their house and they live in another house, okay? And they put that other house on Airbnb. Or let's just say they own that house and they travel all the time, like we said for the first one, right? Okay, but that's not you, right? Let's say you are the person that you want to get into Airbnb, but you don't want to have to own any property. You're not interested, maybe right now at all, to own any property, or you simply just want to try it, you know what I'm saying? Without using your property first, like whatever your situation is, it's possible to do it without owning property, okay? So, what you basically did, like I said in the first opening of this whole situation, the structure is called Airbnb arbitrage. All right, that's how you do it without making money. I mean, without having to own property. But co-hosting is also the second option. But first, we're gonna talk about arbitrage, and you don't have to have money, which is what I meant to say, to start either of these situations. Okay. Now, I'm a basically go into my property because these are the photos that you see are some images of my property, which is, if you in Cleveland, 5 minutes from downtown. Okay, it's called the Artist Hideout Airbnb, 5 minutes from downtown Cleveland. These are some images of it. Now I created a structure within the Airbnb arbitrage structure that basically the homeowner purchased the furniture, okay, and we created a system to where he would get a percentage of the bookings, okay. But you can create whatever system you want to create. Like I said, the first standard way to do Airbnb arbitrage is not how I'm doing it, but I'm gonna tell you the actual standard way. The standard way to do Airbnb arbitrage is to pay rent, okay. Now, actually, I'm gonna stay with me, okay, because you got to understand how we started it was the Airbnb standard arbitrage way. How we finished it and how we doing it right now is not. We created our own structure after doing arbitrage for a little minute. So wholesale started everything in terms of getting those increments of money to get everything, okay? Invest in those first. Let's say, um, let's say it took us like 2,000 flat to start the Airbnb. We offered to pay the owner, okay, $800 a month for 3 months to start, okay, for him to be on board with this model, simply because, like we said, real estate is about relationships, okay. This personal property owner, for this situation, for my personal situation, he had never known about Airbnb, not familiar about the situation at all, but he was experiencing a lack of rent being paid to him every month due to the pandemic, and he was interested. Okay, so we gave him this strategy and he was interested. Okay, with him being interested, he was interested and eager enough to buy the furniture himself. Okay, now this is the power of relationships, because when you're confident about your business strategy, you get people excited. Okay, and they can see what you're saying and what your vision is, and they can understand it, and they will want to invest with you. Okay, so this is what happened in my personal situation. He offered to buy the furniture by us feeding him that money to start, and guarantee that he will see a return on that investment. By the third month, that we guaranteed, the third month, he will start to see a return on his investment, which his investment is getting this furniture. We also had him do some updates, okay? So like I said, these walls were not white. They were like a weird mint green, okay? Very unattractive. So painted the walls white, okay? And he didn't do it himself. He had to pay contractors, right? Okay? This is all going off us guaranteeing him payment of $800 a month for the first 3 months, okay? So he's using this money to pay these contractors to get this property ready for us to list on Airbnb. He also updated the vanity in the bathroom. He also updated the tub in the bathroom, and he also updated the kitchen floor, okay? So that's solid $2,000 worth, right? We pay him $800 a month. You know what I'm saying? Probably more than $2,000, but whatever. He created the opportunity for himself to understand what we were doing, by giving us the opportunity. So that's what I'm saying. You have to believe in yourself that it's actually people in the world in your own city that want to do exactly what I'm talking about. But okay, so after we had him going, you know what I'm saying? He did all the things that we asked him to do to update it. We listed the property. We started to see a return. Our agreement was already set. We had this in a contract. We're only paying you $800 a month for 3 months. Okay. After that, we're not paying you rent. Why? Because you're gonna make a percentage off of our bookings. Okay. So that was the percentage situation that we created, and I'll go into what that split is. But you're gonna make a percentage off of our bookings, so we're not gonna pay you rent. Okay. So that's why I say we started with the rental Airbnb arbitrage method, which starts off paying the owner rent, but then we ended up doing kind of like a freestyle situation. Like, I don't even know if my strategy exists, but you feel me? We created that strategy because we ain't want to put no rent up. We don't own the property, right? So this is why how to make money using Airbnb without owning the property. Period. So boom. We're gonna watch this video real quick. It's gonna break down in general Airbnb arbitrage, but like I just said, I just want to reiterate that we started off with Airbnb arbitrage for our personal situation, and we ended up freestyling with this method that I just kind of told y'all about, giving the owner a percentage of your bookings, okay? But in this video, they're gonna break down specifically Airbnb arbitrage.
Do you want to get into the short-term rental business, but you don't own any property of your own? By now, it's no question that real estate investing has always been a very profitable industry. Now, obviously, you could simply ask a family member or friend who owns a couple of houses if he or she might be willing to let you rent out their home. But what if I told you that you could actually do the same practice with complete strangers on Airbnb using rental arbitrage? It's great when you find someone, but where do you go from there? Stay till the end of this video because I'll tell you exactly how to make money on Airbnb without owning a property, from getting set up to listing out rentals in your name and even getting bookings on your own. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe so you stay updated every time we drop a new video. Now, the first thing you've got to do when starting an Airbnb business is to get acquainted with the platform. You have to know what you're stepping into before starting. What is Airbnb? What does it entail? How does it work? And how are the profits made? Those are some of the few things you should know before getting in. Start getting acquainted with short-term rentals. People go on vacation in various countries and they all need places to stay while on a trip. Not everyone has a luxury hotel or beach house near their favorite visiting spots. Airbnb provides them with a more affordable short-term residence ranging from a day to a couple of months, or even a yearly reservation, like you would with a normal rental property. Rather than renting an unfurnished building, Airbnb hosts rent out their furnished homes to individuals looking to stay for a short time. Basically, you're granting accommodation and amenities to your prospective guests. Now keep watching because I'll tell you how you can do this using other people's property. Start and register your rental business as an LLC. It's not every day you see landlords on Airbnb willingly allow a stranger to sublet their property with nothing to show for. You never want to just ask permission to use it. So the idea is to create a rental business that you own. Get a business name, and if you get a location, that's fine. But if you can't, it's totally fine. Trust me, it's not necessary. Here comes the registering part. File for an LLC. You will be presented as more professional, and this makes your business registered and eligible for corporate leases and tax benefits. You can also build a business credit score, which you can use to furnish. We'll talk more about this later. Registering your business also detaches any future damage to your personal name. You can file for an LLC on LegalZoom.com, so you can rent Airbnb houses under your business name. Make your business verifiable. After getting your business registered, the next thing you want to do is to make your business legit and confirmable. You should make your business known online, which makes people aware. Now, you don't need a big budget for ads. You could simply purchase a domain name for your business's website and create your business landing page. Now, if you're not quite techie, you have no idea what I'm saying, I've got you covered. You can also buy a domain name for your business on GoDaddy.com or Google Domains. As for creating your landing page, you could hire a designer on Fiverr.com. Your cost will depend on the quality of the page you want and the designer's experience. For your About page section, you could add your Instagram handle or phone number, or any other secondary means you would want them to reach you with, and any other extra info you want to provide them with. Simple as that, you're all set up online. The next thing to do is to get a hosting house. Now, how do we get an Airbnb house? Here, you've got two options. You could rent a house off landlords who want to make passive income with their extra houses by creating a win-win situation for both parties. Or you could look for people who have tried Airbnb without guidance and failed miserably. Then you can present them with hope while restarting for them with the tips you learned from this video. Stay until the end because I'll explain exactly how to go about doing this for you. When renting houses for landlords, you want to make them as sure as possible that they can trust who they're handling over their house too. You'll also be taking care of any maintenance charges after bookings have been made. They have to trust and rely on you before giving you their home, even if it is one they haven't been in for a while. To do this, you must enlighten them on who you are, who you serve, which is the Airbnb customers you are providing experiences and accommodations for. They need to know how they can easily get in contact with you. Also, give them your website so they can go through it and see you're an actual business owner looking to maximize profits. That way, you can create a win-win situation for you both so you can see what both parties are getting. When you and the landlords finally agree on the conditions of your contract, please ensure to get it in physical form so you have physical documentation of said contract. On the other hand, you can lease a house if you're not interested in renting from landlords. Since your business is a registered one, you can get a corporate lease and get yourself a house. I should also add that you don't need to delay getting on with your plans before filing for an LLC. Now you've got a house, the next thing is furnishing. How to easily furnish an Airbnb property. Now, most Airbnb houses are furnished based on the experience you want to be providing for your guests. It could also be based on the area your house is in, or whatever theme you feel, or your interior decorator, if you can get one, feels is the right decor for your home. Your cost on this will depend on the size of your property and your location. Business lines of credit and corporate leases can cover this. Also, get a professional photographer to take pictures of your home for future listings. Photos taken by a professional come out way better than the average photos done on a smartphone or cheap camera. It makes the spaces come out wider and with better pixels. Of course, it would be edited but not edited to create a false impression of the house you are hosting, but to capture attention. If you're in a hurry to either list or enter photos for new listings, it's fine to use your phone, but ensure that it is replaced with photos taken by a professional. Spend that money. Trust me, it will be the biggest return on investment you'd ever get, as requests are more likely to come in with those. You need to study the market. When you study the market, you get acquainted with the demand, occupancy, and even the nightly rates of other rentals in your area, which helps you set your prices. Tourism has an awesome role to play. Ask yourself why your guests would want to be in your location. A website called AirDNA helps you achieve this with ease. As a homeowner, pricing is a very huge factor, as a high price can scare customers away, and a low one can reduce your possible profit. When setting prices, it is very important to take into account the various peak seasons and periods that best suit a particular price. You have to research the competitive market to get an idea of what the pricing range should be. Now, doing this every time you want to make a new listing or getting a new customer or for a particular season can be stressful and will take time, which is you losing potential money. But that is when you could sign up for automated pricing. Price Labs or Beyond are sites that offer automated pricing, which will be helpful once you get some experience under your belt. How do you get 5-star reviews? After you list and get bookings, do well to satisfy your guests to get good reviews. Also, remember to engage with the reviews politely, whether they are good or bad. When you've gotten good reviews for that single home and you want more passive income, you can repeat the process by getting a new one from other landlords, or you can help other hosts who have failed Airbnb homes, as we mentioned earlier. Those that have bad or no reviews, those who have listed and haven't gotten any bookings, and even those who tried Airbnb without guidance and failed, offer them hope and create a win-win situation for both parties and continue thriving from not owning a property to renting and managing multiple Airbnb homes. Now, don't get me wrong, all of this sounds great, but this is just the beginning. If you want to learn exactly how to put all of these tips together and truly see success in making money on Airbnb without owning property, watch this video next where I'll give you a breakdown on how to approach landlords using rental arbitrage. Click the video on the screen now, and I'll see you in the next one. Do you want to get into the...
All right. So next, so let me come back on screen real quick. So, okay. So this property that we see right here is actually a new co-hosting client that we just got. She's based out of New York, and she owns property in the Tremont area, which is on the west side of Cleveland. So west side is very beautiful. It's very up and coming with like awesome development for like that creative artist scene. It's super lit. Okay, actually, I just left over there yesterday checking out her property. Her property is sitting right next to $1 million property, and then another property for about 8.5. So, like, already we know that we can list her property anywhere between 400 to 600 a night for sure. Resting on 5, we could definitely list it at 500 a night for sure. And that's just a night. If we list it monthly, we could definitely list it at about between like $5,000 to $7,000 a month, easy. So, we toured her property. She came from Chicago actually to Cleveland. It's like a shorter distance. So I actually got her contact from Facebook, and I'll show y'all a little later in the presentation how I went about getting in that situation. But literally, I hit her up earlier last week. Let's say if I hit her up on Monday, which I think I did last Monday, by the weekend of this past weekend, which is today is Sunday. Yesterday was Saturday, so I met with her yesterday, March 4th, 2023, and she toured the property with me and my partner. So that's just an example of how serious people are about their property. Like, and that's just a great example, about what I said before about people own property and they don't even live in the city. You know what I'm saying? Like, she is not even from Cleveland, first of all. She's from New York, but lives in Chicago, owns property in Cleveland, So with that, she's an investor. She has an investor's mindset. She's assisting herself with this lifestyle, and she needs assistance with people, first of all, who are on the grounds in Cleveland, Ohio, that know the business of Airbnb and that she can trust. So she, off of a phone conversation, we had a great conversation. She trusted me enough to, you know, come to Cleveland, that weekend, which was yesterday. So that's just another example, but we're going to watch this video as well. In this video, it breaks it down a little more specific on ways to go about doing rental arbitrage specifically. And then in the next few slides, I'll go into a deeper breakdown about how I finessed my situation.
Do you want to get into the short-term rental business, but you don't own any property of your own? By now, it's no question that real estate investing has always been a very profitable industry. Now, obviously, you could simply ask a family member or friend who owns a couple of houses if he or she might be willing to let you rent out their home.
1 second, y'all. What is that? Wrong video. There we go.
So are you trying to make money on Airbnb, which quite frankly is one of the best real estate marketplaces in the world? But here begs the question.
Let's see. Nope, that ain't it. I'm gonna get it. Let's see. Well, this is real time. So look, this is perfect because I don't do mistakes. I'm not no YouTuber. So this is real time. I'm gonna show y'all how I do this, okay? I literally just look for information all day. And I'm gonna find a specific video that I want to show y'all. I think her name is Linnell. Yep. Noel. Hold on. There we go.
Okay, you've heard of Airbnb. You know that it is the #1 platform for home sharing, and you want to make money on Airbnb. But you have a dilemma. You don't actually own any properties. So how can you get in on this? I'm going to teach you how to make money on Airbnb without owning any property. Let's go. So the first thing that you need to know when figuring out how to make money on Airbnb without owning properties is to do your research. And this is super simple. That basically means watch my videos. I have created so much content for you guys on this subject because I want you to be able to do this. So I implore all of you to watch all of the videos that I've made for you on Airbnb. But the key to it, because now we're putting another caveat in it. We're talking about properties that you do not own. So let's talk about what that means. The research that you're gonna need to do is really gonna have to be that specific. You need to find out, one, what to do to get these properties listed that you don't own. So if you don't own a property, does Airbnb care? The answer is no. Airbnb does not care if you own the property or not. They care that you can legally do what you're doing, that you have the permission of the owner, but there is nothing, and this is a big secret that I don't even necessarily want a lot of people to get out, but they don't actually care if you own the property or not. So let's find out how you do that. You gotta research and get the permission from the owners to do so. That's it. You just need permission from the owners to do so. It's just that simple. The second piece of information that you need to research when trying to make money on Airbnb using other people's property is your target area, okay? Where are the properties located? This is so important. You need to know that these properties are on Airbnb, that there's a demand on Airbnb for your properties before you ever go out and start finding these properties. So how do we do that? Oh my gosh, super easy. You literally go to Airbnb's website, type in your city and state, and it will give you details and analytics on what that area is doing, what that zip code is doing, and how much other hosts average in that area. Now, again, I'm going to teach you ways to beat the averages, but you kind of want to at least know what the baseline is. Are most people making $500 a month, $1,000 a month, $2,000? Whatever the number is, Airbnb will share it with you for free before you ever list a property. All you need to do is to go into their website, list the property, it says list, and start it. You don't have to actually finish it. Once you put in the zip code of where the property is, it's going to give you a drop down. It's going to give you the analytics. It's going to give you that information. Write it down, research it, test different zip codes because it matters. The third thing that you want to do when making money on properties that you don't own on Airbnb is to find people with property problems. What does that mean? I'm going to tell you simply, tired landlords. Yes, tired landlords, people that have a rental property and they're literally looking for a tenant on a website like Craigslist or Zillow or in the local paper. They're trying to find their own tenants on their own, okay? So I love these people, for rent by owner people that don't have a property manager, for example, or they haven't hired a realtor to help them. They own a property or they own a couple of properties, but they do it on their own. These people, I'm sorry, they're easy pickings for this business because they just want their rent. They're probably tired of dealing with tenants, dealing with those phone calls in the middle of the night, or they're tired of paying property managers fees, okay? And so here's where you come in, and here's how you can start making big money. All you have to do is call these people, tell them you're interested in renting their property, go see the property, and then pitch to them your idea that I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to furnish this property, I'm going to list it. You do not have to say on Airbnb. You do not. That does scare some people. So you tell them what you do as a business, and you explain to them that you're going to guarantee the rent, you're going to maintain the property, you're going to be the property manager, you're not going to be calling them, when the light bulb needs to be changed and all this other stuff. You're going to be the perfect tenant. You're going to be a dream tenant because you really are going to be using their property for your business. You're going to keep the property maintained because that's what your business is. People and guests, they want a great experience. And so it's going to be important that you give them that. So the property needs to be maintained. So if you're going to agree to this landlord that you'll maintain the property and you will take care of the rent, we have no issue. We have long lists. I literally have long lists of different landlords that are interested in doing this. The only caveat is some of their properties just don't fit my model. Some of their properties are not in a nice area or they need too much work, whatever the situation may be. But I have more tired landlords than I have interest in. So the opportunity is there for you. All you have to do is call these people, be professional, and show them what you can do. Number 4, this is so important when you are making money on Airbnb using other people's properties. If you can, again, this is not required, but if you can, try to get the lease in your business's name, okay? Many private landlords don't have an issue with putting the lease in your business's name with you personally guaranteeing it. The reason that you want to do this is because it does offer you some extra protections because the lease, of course, is in your business's name and there's some protection there. But 2, that lease is now an asset of your business, okay? And so when you are being reviewed by lenders and different financial institutions for your business, having leases in your business's name, showing them what you're doing on Airbnb, this makes your business look really big a lot faster, and they are willing to lend you money to help you get more properties because they see that you're doing it the right way. You're doing it as a professional. You're not just some guy or girl out here just trying to do it real quick. You're making an entire business out of it. So if you can, ask the landlord if you can put the lease in your business's name and let them know you will personally guarantee the lease. List the property on Airbnb. You need to furnish it if it's not already furnished, and stock the property and get it ready, and then list the property on Airbnb. So you've gotten the lease in your business's name. Some properties actually have furniture in them already, and so you literally can rent a property that already is furnished. Now again, these are not as easy to find. In many cases, it's a lot easier, of course, to find an unfurnished rental property, but do not think that they don't exist because there are tons of rental properties that are furnished that you can get fully furnished and you can just go, okay? You can just list the property, fix up a few things, maybe add some towels and some of the amenities that we talked about, and then go ahead and list the property. If you need to furnish the property, I've made an entire video for you on how to furnish your Airbnb. I'll put a link here somewhere. There'll be a link that you can just click on and watch that video, and it'll tell you how to furnish the property on the cheap, but nicely with good quality things, okay? And that's the next step. You want to get to superhost status, okay? So once you've got these landlords and you've got these leases and you've put your properties on Airbnb, again, not hard to do, you want to work on getting to that superhost status. That's how you're gonna make a lot of money with Airbnb because you can raise your prices, okay? So the key with getting in with Airbnb is you may start low. You may get people in and give them some teaser rates and offer them some discounts and incentivize them to book your properties, get those reviews, and then you jump up on those prices, especially as you get closer and closer to Superhost or as you achieve the Superhost status. Because once you get Superhost status, Airbnb is automatically gonna start putting you higher up in their searches, okay? 2, people are gonna recognize that Superhost badge and they're gonna be more willing to come to your properties because they know you've given other people great experiences. And then number 3, this is your business. Superhosts, on average, make nearly 200% more than the average Airbnb host, okay? So these are the people like me and others that are taking this very seriously. We're doing it as a business, and we make a lot of money doing it. So when you take this as a business, you take it seriously, you literally can make lots of money with properties that you do not own by delivering a great experience to guests. That's the key to this. It's not about the property and who owns it. We don't care about that. The key with Airbnb is giving people a great experience. All right, I hope I really helped you out with this video. I gave you all of the steps that you need. Please take an opportunity, if you can, to click the link below. I put together an Airbnb success blueprint just for you. It helps you. It's going to tell you all of the steps that you need, clearly identify for you. My gift to you for watching my channel. Go ahead, get that link below to your success.
All right. So come back. I love her. So everything she said is like accurate, like super accurate. So two things. So about that lease situation. So we do have a lease. Um, when we switched our business model from paying like rent monthly for them 3 months, we switched it in our lease to model the business model, which is we're not paying 3 months. I mean, we're not paying the rent anymore for the 3 months. Our 3 months is up, like that term for the 800 a month. Done. Now we are giving you a percentage, which is 60%. We taking 40% of the bookings. So we'll booked earnings. Okay, so that's in our actual lease. Um, and yeah, the beauty of making a lease and doing all of this stuff is that you can create. I'm not gonna say anything you want, but based on the terms that you talking about with your private landlord, your private owner, whatever you want to call it, y'all agree to them terms. So you just, get a contract template from Google or wherever you get it from, and a standard, short-term lease agreement template, and you add in whatever y'all terms that you agree on are into the contract, and he signs the contract, and that's how that works. So yes to everything that she said, but also know that within this same arbitrage model for Airbnb, you can then create your own model. So with what I'm doing, it's a little bit of Airbnb arbitrage mixed with co-hosting. So, you just go with the flow of whatever you do when you get in it. But I just advise you to get in it. So, okay. So now we about to check out my personal Airbnb listing. So this is my Airbnb. That is me in the corner up there. So here I am, entire rental unit hosted by Jada. Hey. I have it set to 104 a night. I usually don't like to talk about money, in terms of like how much money I personally make, but confidently I could definitely say that I make between $3,000 to $5,000 a month off of Airbnb because we have our Airbnb set to monthly right now. So it's been set to monthly for, I could say, definitely like the last 8 to 9 months for sure. So, as you see, dedicated workspace, great location, 100% of recent guests gave location 5-star rating. That is beautiful, okay? I'm going to tell you why that's beautiful. We're going to talk about that. So, if you're from Cleveland, Ohio, and you've been in my Airbnb and you know me personally, you know that my Airbnb is in what we call the St. Clair area, okay? St. Clair Superior area is what it's called, okay? The St. Clair area in Cleveland, Ohio is what they would definitely call impoverished, ghetto, hood, all of that, okay? For my Airbnb to be thriving at 100% of recent guests, okay? I said it's set to monthly, so that's within the last month, okay? 100% of recent guests gave this location a 5-star rating. I'm telling y'all to hop on Airbnb. If you from Cleveland and you know what St. Clair is like, St. Clair is not in your mind a Clevelander, okay? In your mind, St. Clair is not 100% of a 5-star rating. That's not what it is to you, right? If you a traveler though, coming to Cleveland, based on whatever reason you coming to Cleveland for, and you come into this Airbnb, my Airbnb, and usually anybody's Airbnb who got an Airbnb in Cleveland, and you come into it, right? It's usually decked out. Like mine is set for artists. You ain't got to be an artist to stay in there. Usually business professionals, creatives, travelers, backpackers, all type of people stay in here, right? Families, right? It don't matter. It's just the experience, like she said in the video. The experience that you have when you come in this Airbnb specifically. If you not from Cleveland, you don't know what St. Clair and Cleveland is like. You have no idea that, St. Clair is St. Clair. You don't know that. You might know, most you might know is Bone Thugs and Harmony from St. Clair. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? That's a big maybe. Like, you don't know. But when you come in here, it don't feel like, or whatever because you still don't know. It don't feel like whatever it's perceived to look like when it's, when you're looking outside though. I've had people come in this particular Airbnb for this one and tell me this looks like a New York brownstone apartment. Like, oh my God, this looks like an artist studio. I've had people book this for music videos. People have booked this for networking events, baby showers. People have booked this for photo shoots. People have booked this for movie sets, okay, short films, scenes, all type of things, okay, because of how I've marketed. So marketing is a big part of it as well, but I don't want you to feel any type of way about the location that you set this up on, because yes, in Noelle's video that we just watched on YouTube, she was specific about getting Airbnbs in nice locations. You can make any location nice based on how you create your Airbnb in the inside. It don't matter the location. That's how I think personally. It don't matter the location. If you know that you can spice it up and make it look nice and it's affordable to you, especially if you just starting out with this method, go for the low rent. Go for the what they call the hood. If you from Cleveland specifically, I would start in that Shaker, Larchmere, Buckeye area. Like areas like St. Clair Superior. You could do you could even hit Garfield. You could do Maple Heights. Let's see. Northmoreland, like areas where it's stuff going on. Detroit Shoreway, Waterloo, like these areas where the rent is between like little 750 to 1200. You know what I'm saying? If you could, whatever, but make it make sense to you. But don't let the location deter you. Is what I'm saying. All right. So we're just gonna do a little photo scroll. So this is, like I said, it's like 2 little living rooms or something. The house is like pretty big. It's an apartment, but it's like 3 bedrooms. It's huge. So that's like when you first come in, this door right here. Usually, like they said, gifts. We give gifts. We usually give some type of like Cleveland memorabilia or something, like maybe a Browns gift, or Cleveland Indians, or I still call them Cleveland Indians. I'm not about to call them nothing else other than that. But or we have a clothing line, so I might give them some indie merch, a Be Happy fanny pack, some stickers, whatever. But you definitely, like you said, some fruit, whatever. You definitely chocolate. You want to give them something. They get an Airbnb for sure, but you still want to give them something because you looking for that rating, okay? You looking for them to have an experience, but you definitely looking for that rating because that's gonna help you get better bookings, and like she said, it's gonna help you raise your price on your nightly rate. Okay, so this is the, I guess, like first living room. Like I said, it's pretty big. So like she said also, or like I think the first video they was talking about how many people it could sleep. So this could really sleep about like 8 to 12 people for real. I really got it set to 8, but it could really sleep 12. So if we was to add like, I don't know, like a roller bed or something in here, or maybe a futon couch, like if I put something like that right there, or like even if I was to add sleeping bags, y'all, like people really like don't care. Like, and that's not to be lazy or nothing like that. I'm not even saying that because we are definitely serious about our Airbnb. But if I was to put sleeping bags in an artist Airbnb and people booked it for what they be booking it for my Airbnb, it would still go. And like, I'm so serious. So that's one of the bedrooms. And these, all the linen is totally different. Now this is like they was saying, like the first photos that people take usually be cell phone photos. I'm being so transparent with y'all right now. These are still the cell phone photos because I've been doing so good and I've been elevating and busy with my property over on Buckeye, the art house, my family's house, other things that we're doing in real estate, other investments, my personal business. I teach kids. I'm an art teacher. I got a lot going on. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I personally have time to take photos because I'm a photographer myself. I ain't got time. But now that we're talking about it, and now that we're talking about elevating, I'll get another photographer, to come in here while it's not booked. Because right now, somebody is in there for the whole month of February, a little bit coming into this month, a little bit going into the middle of March. So I could have somebody go in there and just take professional photos real quick after the deep clean and stuff. But I'm being super transparent with y'all. It can go with cell phone photos. Boom. So that's the second bedroom. We in the hallway. Like the art, it adds a great addition to everything that we doing. We got the Nipsey room. This is like a little smoking area because I told you our Airbnb unit is smoke friendly. So people usually come out here and smoke. That's another bedroom in there. We ain't even have a bed. Man, listen, I'm being super transparent with y'all because now I'm going to redo these photos. People about to be watching this. Okay, so we ain't even had a bed made in there. Okay, and this still be getting booked. Okay, and The reason why it gets booked consistently is definitely, yes, our marketing, but it's because for this particular one, this Airbnb, we have this set to monthly. So it's not a lot of Airbnbs in Cleveland that you can get for the price of mine for monthly stays. So usually people are booking, and I'll show you the biggest inquiry that we've got for like the largest amount of months. But people are booking for like, between 1 to 3 months at a time. So that's the key to Airbnb right there, is to do monthly bookings. But get on there and really like start moving with it so you can see how it works. Kitchen, more, showing of the art. Bathroom, he updated the vanity. So we talking St. Clair, okay? So if you really went, when you get into real estate, you're gonna start understanding how the properties are in your area, what things to look for based on what the perspective of a traveler would be, and if they was inside of here, what they would want to see. You know what I'm saying? So when you start doing this, yeah, it's hospitality, but you looking at you looking at property updates too. You're looking at cosmetics, you know what I'm saying? You're looking at certain things that need to be compared to, like they saying, your market research. So I got to look at the Airbnbs that are also actually downtown Cleveland that are super duper nice and swanky. And no, I'm not trying to be super swanky, but we can get there. You know what I'm saying? With little minor cosmetic updates, like a change in a vanity mirror. You know what I'm saying? A change in a toilet. You know what I'm saying? Because we changed the toilet out. We changed the tub out. Certain things can elevate certain rooms in your property. Changed, updated the fresh white paint. Easy stuff like that. Got the TV in there. It's got Roku. This is an office, so usually we get a lot of traveling business professionals, a lot of nurses. They'll come. They got a whole office in there, and if I really want to be fancy, I could sometimes turn this into a bedroom. If I wanted to get, a futon, put it in there, I could do that because I could just do that. It's an extra room, and I could still leave that table in there because this property is huge. So if I did like a video tour, y'all would see what I'm talking about. But that's more of the hallway. That's another shot of the kitchen. And we make sure we got a lot of photos. And like I said, now that I'm looking at it with eyes, it's going to be on it. I'm going to take more photos. This is another seating area. Right now it's got like pillows and stuff over there, but we've had events. I don't know if y'all know about like So Far Sounds, but So Far Sounds, they came because I'm into music development, artist development, music management, all of that, event curation for media artists, all of that stuff. So Far Sounds, they wanted to use our property for So Far Sounds event. So far Cleveland, because So Far Sounds got a different branch, in every city of the 50 states. So far Cleveland branch wanted to use our Airbnb for a live set show. So I'm gonna add them photos up here too. See, marketing. So boom. But yeah. So we also got this property on Pier Space. So and that's another thing with short-term rental. So if it's not being booked, maybe it's a slow month. Like people kind of don't be transparent about, the slow months on Airbnb. And maybe, some people are not in the Midwest. You know what I'm saying? We deal with the winter time. So you know what I'm saying? Like we deal with slow season. So Cleveland is not a traveling area in the winter, usually, unless you got family here, and maybe unless you on business for sure, something like that. So it might be slow on the bookings, right? On the Airbnb platform specifically, unless I got it set to monthly and somebody is already here, right, throughout them months. So if it's nobody in here though, I gotta get it booked regardless, right? So we put it on Peerspace, it get booked for events. I personally have a marketing company. I can market it off of this in general on my personal website, on social media, get it booked. We've had artist residencies come and stay in here for weeks at a time just to have a place to stay in general and create whatever. Or maybe they traveling from another city and they see our artist residency ad on social media. Literally, I've had calls from artists from different states call to see about our artist residency ad, and they'll come and stay here. They'll come and check it out before they stay here. Come to Cleveland just to check it out, just to see where they're gonna stay for maybe 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Because they in Cleveland for 2 weeks for an art gallery show, and they ain't got nowhere else to go right now, literally until they show. stuff like that. People need places to stay for so many different reasons. But it's more shots than Nipsey. We love Nipsey over here. Oh, and that's it. Boom, for that one. So that's our unit. Let's see. 104 a night. Let's see, if I was to stay for the whole month of April, from the 1st, I'm going to show y'all what I would get to the 30th. This would be the payout. Okay. So the discount that we got for you to stay, that's going to be your discount. And I might change that. I'm real generous, you know what I'm saying? I'm real generous. But the service fee for Airbnb, they gonna take that out. We got our own cleaners, so we pay our cleaners like anywhere between 50 to 75 because they stand for like, a month. Highest we paid our cleaners, it's probably like $100 based on, how bad it is. But usually, like, how you present your space is how your guests gonna leave it. So how we present our space at the beginning of the month is usually how they leave it when they leave out. So our cleaning fee is really like standard between $50 and $75. And it usually take maybe 2 hours. Maybe. So yeah, that's the payout. And like I said, we giving our partner, which is the owner of this whole complex, the owner of this unit, we giving him 60% and we taking 40%. So that's that. Yeah. Like, so we gonna keep it moving. Yeah. So how to find properties and property owners, right? That will let you rent their property for Airbnb or your short-term rental business. So what I want everybody to understand is that yes, Airbnb exists and it's awesome and like it's so easy to use, right? But sometimes people get weary of the term Airbnb just because people throw parties in Airbnbs to get crazy. Airbnb, unfortunately, in certain areas is not used to it. It has a bad rep. So you might use the term short-term rental business, which is a legit real term, right? Short-term rental. Back in the day, they used to call them timeshares. You know what I'm saying? Still call them that. But short-term rentals is definitely a thing. And they might even sometimes call it corporate housing, right? In certain places in your city. But these is for people who are coming to your city for, short terms, like maybe 30 days, maybe 15 days on like business trips or, excursions, whatever they coming for. But they need a place to stay and they're not looking for no hotel, like they need something more leisure, something more homey. Like that's why Airbnb was created. So they gonna want to look at your spot. Like, so it's like, how do you find those people? So propstream.com, that's one way that you can find them. So you do have to pay for that. This is all about how to not use money or how to use as little much money as possible to start, because I don't want to get y'all in the mindset of not using money. You're gonna have to use money eventually to make money. But with Airbnb, you don't have to have money to start. So that's a key. But for tools and research to elevate, get used to spending money on yourself and investing in yourself for sure. So propstream.com, 7-day free trial. So with that free trial, you can learn how to create lists, okay? You're creating lists of properties in different areas in your city. So we talking about Cleveland. So different areas in Cleveland that I think would be successful with Airbnb. And I don't even gotta go off what I think. I can go off what I know. So you can go on Airbnb.com yourself and type in whatever area in the city you're looking for, and you can see what the prices are yourself. And you can compare that based on what you should be pricing, your nightly rate or your monthly rate. And you can do the same thing I did as if I was gonna book it myself, see what that breakdown would be if I'm staying for a month, or if I'm staying for a week, you know what I'm saying, and price it out. You can also find these properties, and just to go a little bit more detail on that, so you make your list on PropStream, right? And then PropStream is going to give you access to the actual contact information and, the locations for where these, like the address locations for where these houses at that you want, based on what you said the locations are on Airbnb that you matched it up. So if we talking about let's say we're talking about Garfield Heights in Cleveland, Ohio. So if we look on Airbnb and see, properties for Garfield, we can look at the prices and we can go on PropStream. Then we'll type in PropStream, Garfield, Cleveland, Ohio, whatever. It's going to bring you a list. Like, what I'm saying? It's going to bring you a map, rather, with a whole bunch of dots. That dots, or those dots, rather, are addresses and houses that are located, right? And you're going to save all of them different addresses. You can do all of this for 7 days for free. Then they're going to charge you $99 a month. It's so many different videos, like the one we about to watch, on how to do, PropStream specifically. But outside of that, you can do Facebook Marketplace, which is where I'm very successful at in finding people who have property that needed to get rented out. Okay, on Facebook Marketplace, you looking for, and it's not even really like Marketplace, it's really like groups. But Marketplace definitely, because people selling homes, right? They selling their homes because they ain't got nobody in it. Usually they either selling their home or they got a home on there to rent because they ain't got nobody in it. But you can also do Facebook groups that have private owners in them that are looking for somebody to put in their property. Okay. You can also drive around your neighborhood and collect all of the for sale by owner signs and phone numbers that you see. Because those people are private owners, they don't want to work with a realtor for a reason. If they wanted to work with a realtor, their property would not have a for sale by owner sign outside, and it would be listed on the MLS with a realtor. But they don't have a realtor because they don't want to pay a realtor that 3% or that 4% or whatever that percentage would be for helping them sell their property, okay? Or helping them find tenants for their property, okay? Because maybe you don't have a realtor, but maybe you put it on a website like apartments.com, you know what I'm saying? Or I don't know, Trulia or something like that, where property owners list their property because they looking for people that's looking for property to live in. But you pay fees for that. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to do that. They want somebody just driving around to see their property because they got a for sale by owner sign outside, and they want you to stop and call the number that they wrote on there on purpose for you to call, and they want you to say, I'm looking for a place to stay. Usually that's what they're looking for, is a regular tenant. They're usually like, oh, I'm looking for a place to stay. But you can offer something totally different because you're offering an actual business model. So you're coming in and you're saying, yeah, I'm guaranteeing you rent, but it's not just going to be one person that's staying there all year. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be several people staying because I have a business model, business professionals that are staying, not random people, right? You want to be professional and confident with your model so that they understand what you're saying because they're a private business owner. They usually don't know about Airbnb. So you just got to be confident. But that's another strategy. But this video right here is about to talk about just a breakdown on how to use that PropStream.
Hey, we are talking about Airbnb, right? Airbnb, so many people ask me, so many people want to know the game. Rhonda, how are you getting these properties? How do I get someone to let me Airbnb their property? Now, most people go the traditional route of an apartment complex. Well, apartment complexes, they're starting to get hip. They know what's going on. They don't want the in and out traffic. It's not safe for their community. So a lot of those people are turning you away. So you have to go the corporate lease route, things like that. But today, I'm going to show you a simple trick that can help you start contacting landlords and being able to get these properties. Now, Airbnb, if you know what it is, congratulations. If you don't know what it is, it's just a place where you can go and find vacation homes, and things like that. You can find things in the city, in the state, out the country, and you can just go on here. It's like a hotel, but better, right? It's better. The hotel industry is kind of going away. People like Airbnbs better because they can have the stove, the kitchen, the pool. They can have multiple families in there on their trips. So what it looks like is this, let's say we're going to be going to Houston, right? Houston, Texas. Let's say the day to the 14th through the 21st. It's going to ask us how many guests. Now, let's say you wanted to bring 2 families, right? A mom, a dad, and a little kid, and you have 2 families. So that's the mom, the dad, the child. You have 2 families, that's 6. So now they want to stay in the house together. You can see different things like this. Now, again, type of place. You can do entire place, private room, shared room. I want the entire place, right? This is gonna bring me up some houses, some things like that. So here's a house right here. That's $109 a night. Now just imagine 2 families, $109. That just makes sense, right? That makes sense. So let's find us a property so we can use it for an example. We want to have a good example for you guys of a house, right? Let's see. Let me bring the guest count up just so we can find some houses. Let's go 8. Mom, dad, 2 kids. Okay, mom, dad, 2 kids. All right, so we have this house right here. So let's just say that total would be $1,000, right? That would be $1,000 for that trip for that family. Now let's just think. Imagine if this property, if this house's rent, the rent was only $1,200 a month, and you're already making $1,000 off of one booking for 7 nights. You still have the rest of the month, and everything after that is profit. Now, how do we find the houses, Rhonda? How do we get the people who have these houses that I can rent, that I can kind of go to and ask if I can do this in their property? There's going to be a software, and I'm going to give you the game today, right? It's going to be in the description below. Click the link. You get a 7-day free trial. After the 7 days, it's $97 a month. But if you are using this the proper way, you should be making money, right? If you don't have the $97, cool, no problem. For the 7 days, build such a massive list that you get so much value out of the 7-day free trial. Again, the link is in the description below. Now, this is propstream.com. Now, with propstream.com, it's magic, right? It's a magical tool that could be used so many different ways, right? So remember I said Houston, Texas, right? Houston, Texas. We're going to come, not here. We're going to come right down to Houston, Texas, and we are going to filter this thing out, right? We're going to filter this out. There's all these different places that we can use to stack and build a list based on what we're looking for, okay? So what we're going to do is owner occupied. I'm going to put no. I don't want the owner to be in the property. A lot of people have property and they may have it in one city. They may live in another. They may have it up the street. They may live in another house. So I'm going to put owner occupied, no. Vacancy, vacant, occupancy, vacant. And then right here under quick list, I'm going to go to tired landlords. These people are tired. They don't want the property. They're tired. They just want somebody to come rent this thing out, right? So let's just go and see what they have, right? Boom, let's see what we got here. This is going to give you the address. It's going to show you the property. It's going to show you where it's at. It's going to tell you all the things that you want to know, okay? Now, with this last thing, let me add another piece of this. I want to filter this out by property type because I don't want commercial property. I only want residential. Commercial is just a lot more to deal with, things like that. And then you can do single family homes, okay? I just want houses right now. Now, if you were building a different type of list, that would be cool. But right now, we just want houses, okay? So let's go back and we can start seeing these houses, right? Let's go see what we got here. And a lot of these will have pictures. So if they don't, you can always take it in Google and you can go look up the property. So what you would do is just take this, come over to Google, put the address in, and you can just pull up the property just like that if it doesn't have it. So this is the house right here. This is what it looks like. This is the street view. It's in a little cul-de-sac, you know, so you know kind of what the neighborhood looks like. You can kind of see what that looks, and you come right back to it, and we're going to close this out. And it says that they have equity in the property, which none of this stuff really matters to you, but we know that it's what it is: 4-bed, 3-bath, distressed, no, short sale, no. Owner type individual means it's owned by a person, not a company. Length of ownership, 20 years and 3 months, okay? They financed it. Owner status, non-owner occupied. So that means the owner's not there. That means that they're probably renting this property out. So you can come right here. It says MLS details. Listing date 10/9/2021. So that was recent. They pulled it off the market. It was on for 177 days, and its category was purchased. So now that we know they pulled it off for some reason, pulled off market. It was listed by Keller Williams. So it's giving you so much information that you might want to be able to reach out to this individual and see, hey, what's going on, right? So we have the owner information, the owner name, and it has the address. So you see how this is the property address, but this is the owner's mailing address, meaning that the owner's not in the property, okay? So the next one's gonna be some free game, truepeoplesearch.com. Truepeoplesearch.com, I wanna reverse this address. I'm gonna put it in here. and I'm gonna take out this information, right? And we're gonna just go skip trace. Skip tracing means getting the phone number to contact the owner. Now, coming back here, it says, this is the owner right here. So we're gonna be looking for this name. Again, guys, this is all public information. None of this stuff is private. So no privacy laws here. You can find all of this stuff on the internet, okay? All right, so we got right here. Let's go. The owner's 38 years old. These are their numbers. So what I would do is I would pick up the phone, try all three of these numbers, and hey, your property on Antigua, 1302 Antigua, by chance, would you be interested in renting that property out? Is it available? Is it open? Are you open to renting? Are you not? And find out what's going on with this property, because we know two important things right now. We know that this property is not owner occupied. Right here, we know the owner does not live there, and we confirmed it by his mailing address and not knowing that that's not the same. And then we know that they pulled it off of the MLS. So they were trying to sell at one point, but they took it off. So we may be able to come to this individual and say, hey, by chance, would you be interested in renting out the property? And let's just say they gave us a rent amount of $1,500 a month. We know this is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath for $1,500 a month, where we just seen right here a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom with 3-bath, and right now we've already made $1,000 off of a 7-night booking. Now you can come back and you can just keep going through this list. Just keep going. It's gonna take some phone calls, but you're talking to the actual owners. You're not talking to a big corporate company. You're not talking to management. You're talking to the owner of this property. And we know that we have a tired landlord list, meaning that these landlords have probably listed the property, took it off. They haven't had any success with it. It's giving you so much information that we can just pick these properties up, just go through them, and just find out what's going on. Right? So this one right here, relationship, Whitaker Interest LTD. That's not an owner. That's not a person. That looks more like a company. So you see right here, it says corporate. I don't really want to go through a corporation. So I'm going to keep moving, right? Right here, owner status, vacant, finance, individual. I like that. This is the address of the owner. This is the property address. Those are great. MLS details, pulled it off of the market. Why did you pull it off the market? Right? Current listing price, $1,650. That's probably the rent. That was probably the rent they were asking for. Let's go and check this out. Okay. Let's go see what's going on. This is the property. Nice house. Look at that sign out front. Lease. You see that lease sign? Okay, they were trying to lease this property out. They pulled it off. One of two things. Either somebody leased it out or they got tired and they're trying another route, but it's still listed and it's worth a phone call. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the address. I'm going to take it over here. I'm going to reverse the address. Take it. All you got to do is copy and paste and just make a little list. That's it. Make a list. We know the name right here. And there's a second name right here. So all we got to do is match those names. If we see the name.
Boom. Okay, so like literally, I'm giving y'all so much game. It's crazy. Let me come back. So like everything she's saying is like true. Like, bruh. Everything she's saying is true. So the main reason why these homeowners are struggling, which is like the personal landlords that she's talking about when she's using the PropStream software, is that property owners 9 times out of 10 do not know how to market. You know what I'm saying? Just because they got a property up there and like we talked about, they don't want to use no real estate agent, it still don't mean that they know how to market their property. So they really are wishing and hoping, you know what I'm saying, for somebody to, like I said, hypothetically drive past, stop, and ask about that property to be rented. But let's say, what if that don't happen for months? Like that property that she's talking about, both of them got pulled off the MLS, right? That's because that hypothetical situation that we just talked about, somebody just driving past and wanting to look at it, that didn't happen for however many months. Sometimes it's like half a year, 6 months. Sometimes it's a year, 12 months, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it don't take long, but sometimes it don't happen at all, you know what I'm saying? So in that situation, you're coming with a whole short-term rental business model that can negate all of that stuff. Like, you don't even need to worry about a regular tenant. We don't deal with regular tenants. We deal with business professionals. Me, I deal with business professionals and creative artists. that are coming to simply be on vacation and do business endeavors, business dealings, whatever you want to say to make it enticing. You feel me? You say it, but it's real life what you doing. You building a business model that you presenting to them that is bringing in consistent cash flow and income to them and you. So you know, helping everybody involved. But the base of their problem is that they don't have a marketing strategy to get a body in that house. And you have the marketing strategy because you have the business model of Airbnb, or you got the business model of your short-term rental business that you created, and Airbnb is one of your strategies that you use to list your properties. Boom. Okay, so we gonna keep it pushing. It's gonna be a long video, but that's okay. Maybe not. I think it's almost done. So boom. So specifically, so like I said, I'm giving y'all so much game. So listen, it's past my bedtime. So look, what to say to property owners? Because I know everybody on here is like, oh my god, like all that sound cool, Jada, but like, what do I say to the property owner? Oh my god, listen, don't be scared. Like now, this specific script, okay, is not even a script. It's just me talking, okay? Like this is me literally talking to the person that I just told you back in the slide where I said we just got this client, because we just got this client, okay? So this client, Tanya, that you see, okay, she's located in New York. That's where she's from, okay? But she lives in Chicago. I was doing what everybody be talking about on all these videos, right? Okay? Because I've been doing this for a minute. I know the structure. I know my rhythm. Okay, I'm confident in what I'm doing. I'm confident in what I'm saying. Okay, cool. So I'm just doing my regular 1-2 on Monday, looking for real estate things to get into, right? So I'm on Facebook. These are all screenshots of my actual Facebook messages between me and Tanya. So I was on Facebook in the Airbnb Cleveland Facebook group, okay? In this Facebook group, you got Cleveland, hosts that host on Airbnb. Some of these hosts are just simply showing their success rates on Airbnb. Some of these people are, potential hosts, property owners looking to be hosts, property owners that need advice for their property. They don't know what to do with it. They don't want to tenant. You know what I'm saying? They're looking to get in the Airbnb. They don't know what to do. They need assistance. They're looking for a co-host. You know what I'm saying? They've researched it, but they don't live in Cleveland. So they need a co-host to manage the property. So boom, that was ding, ding, ding. That was Tanya. Woo! So Tanya was specifically looking for a co-host to help her manage her property in Cleveland, located in the Tremont area on the west side. Okay, I saw her post because God is real, all right, and the law of attraction is very real. Okay, so I saw her post. I reached out to her, and this is what I said, okay, verbatim. I said, "Hi Tanya, I saw your post about needing an Airbnb host in the Tremont area. I currently host a unit 5 minutes from downtown Cleveland and would love to know more about your Tremont property. You can check out my Airbnb here." Okay, and I sent the link, same link I just showed y'all, to my Airbnb. She responded, okay? She said, "Hi Jada, and I wish it had the times of the day because this was early in the morning. It had to be like 9 a.m. or, no, I think it was like 8. I know I was talking to Tanya like 8 a.m. or something crazy. Yeah, so, all right. So she was like, "Hi Jada, what is included in your host package?" I said, "Hi, Tanya," smiley face. All right. With our host package, we will manage your virtual setup. Okay. Uh-oh. Go back. All right. We're going to manage your virtual setup. We're going to manage your screenings and bookings. Okay. Your guest screenings are like who is checking into this property. You know what I'm saying? You get to see who they are, what Airbnbs they stayed in, what the people said about them being a guest, all of that. All right. So you handle that. And marketing for your property. Marketing is key. Marketing is key. Okay. All that other stuff, sometimes to owners who know what they're doing, that shit can be fluff. Okay. I can get a cleaner. If I'm thinking like an owner, all right, listen, you got to think like an owner. Because even though she need help, sometimes you can still negate that because she might be, I don't know, in the business longer. She might have connections. People just sometimes won't help. But like everybody, it can be another person in your head that kind of be like fighting the help. And it's just like making money. Like, you want to make money, you want to make more money, but it's going to be another person in your head. Really, it's you, you know what I'm saying? That's going to fight that fear and try to make you do the same thing that you was already doing, that comfortable thing that was making you money, but not enough money because you need more. But, you know, I'm just stay with me. So listen. So I'm like, you know, our package, da da da, marketing for the property. The marketing is key because she literally don't have nobody to market that. She not gonna say that. Okay? People don't understand how important marketing is, but the reason why she got this property in this group is because she don't got nobody to market it. Okay? That's what she needs. She need a co-host, but she needed to be marketed properly. Because if it's not marketed, ain't nobody hopping in there in general. You know what I'm saying? And she's not from Cleveland. So she said, I will give you a call shortly. Here are some images, and I already have professional photos, literally. So that's what I'm saying. When you say, because you can listen to all these people on YouTube, because I don't want y'all to think I'm rambling. Everything I say got value. So look, when you listen to all these people on YouTube, you can think sometimes that like you got to say everything that they say, right? And go verbatim off everything they say with the scripts they give you, and that's bullshit, because some of that shit can sound like fluff, okay? Like I said in this response to her, she asked me, what's included in your host package? I said, with our host package, we will manage your setup. You can't see it because it's like, blocked out. But it says photos. Like, we will get your first setup for photos, bookings, and, handle the marketing for your property. First thing she said after I will call you shortly is, here are some images. And I already have professional photos. Because I said professional photos over here. So she telling me already, I ain't with the fluff. You gotta know the vibes too when you talking to these people. You know what I'm saying? She's the owner. You know what I'm saying? She's not a co-host. You know what I'm saying? She's not somebody that just got into real estate. She got real estate already. Got it in New York, got it in Chicago, and she expanded to Cleveland. So I can't come at her like she a small fry. That just told me that I can't come at her like she a small fry. I already have professional photos. Okay, cool. Guess what? I'm not a small fry at all, Jada. I actually have 2 units. Boom. I'll call you this afternoon. I'm like, okay, bet. She's not a small fry. I already know what type of owner I'm dealing with. Somebody who's into real estate, somebody who's confident about the business dealings they make. They want to invest in Cleveland. They want to have more property, which means they may want to have more Airbnbs if we manage this property correctly. Okay? Boom. Hop on the phone with her throughout the day, right? Get on the phone, and I'm having a great conversation about how she needs somebody to simply manage and market her listing to make sure it has consistent bookings. And guess what? She wants it to be monthly. She wants to figure out how to get somebody in there for at least 6 months to start, so she ain't got to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? So that would take marketing. That would take consistent marketing to make sure somebody is in there for 6 months. I got to find that person. I got to figure out what we going to do, like create the marketing plan, right? To find that person. What property listing sites are we going to list it on? What type of caption or wording am I going to create if I put this on Facebook to get somebody to be enticed enough to want to stay in it for 6 months? It's beautiful, so I'm not going to have to do much, but marketing is key. So I just wanted to show y'all a real life example because I literally just got this past weekend. So I just want y'all to know this is real. Y'all can do this. So boom. Okay, Jada, all this stuff is cool, but how does the property owner get paid if you saying that we could figure out a way to make sure that we don't got to pay the rent? Well, like I said, the property owner gets paid because they get a percentage of your bookings. So it's actually 2 ways, okay, like I said before, but I'm breaking down the first way on just general rental arbitrage as if we not doing percentages and I'm paying the rent and flipping it and putting it on Airbnb and making my profit. So this is what I'm going to do. This is the first breakdown for that. So 2 ways, right? Number 1, property owners can receive payment by receiving percentage of your Airbnb monthly bookings in exchange for negotiation of no monthly rental payment. All right. Okay, wait, reverse. What I said is going to be second, but this is first. First is what I'm doing, which is the 60-40 split with my personal model, okay? You don't have to do 60-40. There's people on YouTube who be talking like, oh, I do 30%. I don't want 30% because I come with a business model that I created that's a little more hands-on, because I don't want to right now scale so many with the Airbnbs, because right now we have Airbnbs, we have the art house property studio, we have several investments that we're working on. So just time management wise, until we scale with the third one that we gonna do, we probably won't go too crazy in this 2023. But just the fact that we about to get the third one, which is um the one that I'm talking about right now, I see no reason why, you know, we can't fully automate the system. Um, by this time next year is a stretch, but if I was literally sitting here with my partner, he'd be like, "We could automate the system by, you know, 6 months from now." But literally, like once, and I say all that stuff to say confidently like that, because once you get into the Airbnb space, you're gonna understand what I'm talking about. Like it's easy to scale. So, all right, boom. How does the owner get money? Property owners can receive payment by receiving a percentage of your Airbnb monthly bookings in exchange for a negotiation of no monthly rental payment. Okay, so this is the way that you don't pay rent. So, monthly gross earnings from Airbnb. This is an example. So, for this monthly example, for this situation, let's say for this month, we had the property listed on Airbnb, and within that month, it generated $3,200. Okay, with the model that I do, let's say we did the 60-40 split and we gave the owner 60% of that, okay? The owner is going to receive $1,920, okay? That's for that month, all right? You're going to take home, oh, let's go back, hold on. Let's move this bar out the way. You're going to take home $1,280, okay? Because you're taking home that 40%. So let's go through it again. So you're not paying any rent. Why are you not paying any rent? Because they're getting a percentage of your monthly bookings from Airbnb. Okay? We just saw the breakdown in the other girl's video, and I'm gonna break it down in the next example on why it's not like outlandish on how you can make $3,000. Like, I'm telling you, you just gotta try it and believe and trust in yourself. But definitely trust in the results that you get from people. Don't not believe people because you're scared. Don't do that. You're not gonna be successful that way. So your monthly gross earnings, okay, from Airbnb was $3,200, because either you put it on there for monthly and somebody booked it for that month and you made that money, or within that month, however many weeks was in that month, right, it got booked and generated this amount of money based on whatever your nightly price was, whatever, right? Within that situation, at the end of the month, regardless, you got $3,200, okay? You're obligated to pay the owner. That's your rental agreement, that you're not paying rent, but you're giving him a 60% split of whatever your bookings are, okay? So just keep whatever they are. It's not always going to be this number. It's going to fluctuate. So you keep that in mind. That's why it's important to scale. You don't want to have one Airbnb. You want to have, we want to have like between, 20 to 50. But, right now we scaling. So, but you don't want to have one. You want to have more than one, because this number is always going to fluctuate. That monthly earning is going to fluctuate. But for this example, we're staying with 3,200. We got 3,200 this month. We owe the owner 60%, regardless of what that number is. For this month, it's 3,200. We giving him 60%. We giving him 1,920. Boom. We taking home 40%. We taking home 1,280 for the month. I don't know what y'all got to do within the month, but that's somebody rent in general for the month, okay? Literally. That's somebody rent in general. So you can pay your own rent with that. You can invest that into something. You could put that into a saving account and build up for another Airbnb. You could, update the furniture. You could do whatever you want to show money. But it's your profit that you just made when you took that home out of the split, okay? The second way to do it is this way, okay? So, way number 2, property owners can receive payment by receiving their desired monthly rental rate, okay? So you pay the rent. As you receive permission to list the property on Airbnb and other short-term listing sites to, see a return on your Airbnb investment and ensure the property owner gets their monthly rent on time by explaining your business model with confidence. So this part I should have highlighted. By explaining your business model with confidence. By explaining your business model with confidence, okay? That is important because it's a lot of people that's gonna say, yeah, just put it on Airbnb. You could do that. I ain't saying you can't. Like, anything is finessable, but sometimes, private owners, sometimes they might be, a little hands-on. Sometimes they not. Most likely they're not, but sometimes they might be hands-on. You know what I'm saying? If they don't know that you are not the person staying in that property and they happen to, I don't know, be in the area and see another person, it's not their business, but they could inquire. Maybe the neighbors. Maybe the neighbors is weirdos. Maybe they care too much. Maybe they nosy. And they see different people coming in and out of your house all the time and you not there ever. Because you done set your life up to travel and use that house for Airbnb. Maybe they tell the owner because that's their homie. Maybe they peep that you doing Airbnb and they get jealous because they ain't thought of it. It's so many reasons, but you just want to make sure you protect it. Usually when you leave with bad intentions, you get bad things that happen to you with bad outcomes. So you want to make sure you protect yourself spiritually with all the stuff that you're doing. So boom, you gonna ask permission to the private owner that you gonna find, which you found them on PropStream, you found them on Facebook, you found them driving around looking at for sale by owner signs, however you found them. But you gonna get permission from that property owner, okay, to pay him rent. And I'm paying you rent, not because I'm living here, because I'm putting this property on Airbnb, okay? Or whatever short-term, rental listing sites that you choosing, but that's why I'm paying you rent. So that's why that negotiation and that lease, all them terms is important because you're not a regular tenant and that needs to be explained. That's why you usually want to get it signed, like she said, in your business name, because you're not a regular tenant. You're operating a business in this unit or in this house, whatever whatever you're doing. So, all right. So with this percentage example, we're going to do monthly rent, right? Because this situation, we paying him rent. So the monthly rent is $1,000. Let's say we got a 1-bedroom condo. Let's say it's close to like Detroit Shoreway or something in Cleveland, right? It's $1,000. It's pretty sweet. It's not super brand new, but like it's been updated. You know what I'm saying? And we creative, so we know we made it swanky enough for it to definitely get booked on Airbnb, right? So the rent already that we owe the property owner is $1,000. Obviously, plus your utilities. Okay, so you factor all that in, and I'm gonna be specific about the last one. This one, the way where you do the split, they pay for the utilities, so that's very important to know. For the first example, the property owner pay for the utilities. They paying for the Wi-Fi. They paying for anything that maintenance wise on both ends. They paying for maintenance, but specifically them utilities and that Wi-Fi, they paying for on the first example because you're only obligated to give them a percentage of the monthly earnings, okay? Boom. With the second option, you obligated to pay the rent, which means if you obligated to pay the rent, you obligated to pay the bills. You feel me? So you factor all of that in, but this is just the example, okay? So let's say the monthly rent is $1,000. You list that on Airbnb because you paid your rent, right? You list it on Airbnb for $123 a night. The host, right, which is you are the host because you're listing this property, same property you just paid rent, listing it on Airbnb. You receive a booking request for 13 nights, okay? Somebody want to come to Cleveland and stay in your spot for 13 nights. You gonna make $1,599 off that one booking, okay? That one guest that wants to stay 13 nights. You just made your rent for the month, okay? Because your rent is $1,000. So you just made your rent back. Let's say you already paid it, right? Okay, cool. Let's say you made this the month prior, and the month coming up, rent ain't hit yet, but you already got your rent and then some. You know, you got a little bit of profit, and the month still is going. You got 17 days left in the month to receive more bookings and make a return on your investment. You see what I'm saying? So if dude's staying for 13 nights out the month, based on the algorithm and how that works, somebody already stayed 13 nights. Why somebody else not gonna stay another maybe 12 nights? Maybe somebody gonna take the rest of the calendar, because as an Airbnb guest, when we looking, we get to see what the calendar is like, right? So if I like your Airbnb enough and it's high quality enough and it's in a nice location and all of that, I might be paying attention to the fact that the last person booked it for 13 nights. It might be worth me booking it for the next 17 days out that month, based on what that city got to offer, or based on what this Airbnb got to offer. Period. You gotta have confidence in yourself. So this is a snapshot. Like I said, I don't really like to talk about money in terms of me making money and how much I make, because I just feel like that ain't nobody business. But I'm confident to say that I make money off Airbnb, and I've been meaning to talk about Airbnb in this type of fashion. I'm busy making money on it. That I ain't got time to sit here and talk about it, but now I'm talking about it. So boom. These are snapshots of real, like, bookings and actual inquiries that I've received over the months, years, like just general. I've been doing Airbnb since 2020, so it's 2023. So yeah. So boom. So this is one of the first guests that we got to do monthly, okay? So like, just bruh, this is a blessing. But look at this. So Mr. Parag, he was from a foreign country, okay? He was a traveling creative, okay? He was looking for an artist residency, all right? He came and stayed at our spot from June 5th to August 6th. Okay, that's 62 nights. It was four of them, all right? We made that much right there, 3,000, okay? That's for the first. I should have put the second screenshot. That was for like the first half, because like sometimes how Airbnb do it, they'll like they'll split up your payments basically. So it was probably like like 4,200 or something like that. But this is the first increment that we got, basically like the first half, but it was like more than half, you know what I'm saying? Because they staying for a longer amount of time. So sometimes when you stay for a longer amount of time, you don't have to put all the money up front, but sometimes you do. It's just based on your settings. Like, so when we first put up all of our settings, we were, like I said, generous. They still set to them generous settings. So, but this was the first payout that we received. Not ever, but the first time when we set it to monthly. This is what we got. So that was for that. This right here to the right is the largest inquiry that we've got, okay? So the largest inquiry that we got was for 3 adults and 2 pets, and they wanted to stay, okay, from January 12th, 2023 until July 31st, 2023. So, bruh. The only reason why we could not accept this booking is because the owner wanted to do some more updates, and he just wasn't comfortable with that amount of time. Don't ask me why, because we could have did the updates with that price. But you know what I'm saying? Sometimes, people be weary. Sometimes, everybody is not used. So this is a real statement, what I'm about to say. Sometimes everybody is not used to being blessed and thinking that they are in a position to receive such a blessing. Okay. Now, if I owned the property, we would have took the 16 bands and did them updates. We just, would have told old boy, like, we would have told him something, or we would have, held it until next year. I don't know, but he definitely wanted to stay for like the whole year. So, that was crazy. Like half the year, like 6 months. Like, that's crazy. So that's the biggest inquiry we got. But that's just proof to show you that this worked. Like, it's not even like a joke. Like, I'm really being serious. So right here, it tell you the potential earnings. So based on your rate for the month, right, it's 2,431. That's what we got to set for monthly when you book it. Okay. Along with associated fees. All right. This is what we would have got. Like, I just shout out to Airbnb, y'all. Y'all really, I don't know what inspired y'all to do this. Like, I mean, I do. Like, I read about it, but it's just like, shout out to y'all for really giving people a platform to make money in real time, because it works. Oh, I think that's the last slide, y'all. Boom. All right. But yeah, so I hope y'all enjoyed this TED Talk. But no, like, I'm being real serious. Like, I really do hope that this presentation inspired you to get on Airbnb. So, like I said, like, I am not a YouTuber. I will probably get more into YouTube, like, you know, putting videos up more so about like mindset, how to invest in yourself, how to invest in educating yourself, stuff like that, my real estate journey. More Airbnb talk as we advance on these Airbnb opportunities, and as we build out our co-hosting business method along with the arbitrage method. Just to be super transparent, I believe the co-hosting method that we've built with our different percentage strategy is a little more effective than the arbitrage, but I do see us doing both just to have a little bit more, you know, control on those profit margins. But then I also see, you know, what's going into owning property strictly for Airbnb. So some people are against that. I don't listen to people. I listen to myself. I trust myself. I guide myself. I love myself. So I think, you know, when you creative and you understand what you're trying to do and you believe in yourself, anything is possible. And when you find opportunities like, you know, real estate or whatever that you out there looking for, when it starts to attract to you, don't repel it by being stuck in self-doubt and swarming yourself with, you know, things that people think you should do or moves that people think you should make, or listening to things that people, you know, don't got no business telling you, but they telling you because they don't even know why they telling you. They've been guided by the lower level entities to knock you off your path, or try to rather, but it's up to you to be focused and to stay in alignment so that you can catch these blessings. So I wish all of y'all luck, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. And yeah, man, like, I don't even really, they be all like subscribe. I ain't all the way there yet, but you know, just follow me, I guess. Like, follow me. You can follow me on Instagram, at indie.media. You can follow our nonprofit page at destinationdream.foundation. We got a website for our merchandise dropping very, very soon, a revamp. That will be indieshop.art. We got our real estate website revamping, dropping soon. That'll be fgm.inc. So, I mean, I got updates for y'all very soon. But, you know, for Airbnb, definitely keep watching me. And we about to turn up this year. We out. I love y'all. For sure.